Ladies and gentlemen, we need to have an honest conversation today because intimacy, real intimacy, isn't just about friction. It's about connection. And if you want to be the kind of man who leaves her breathless, not just in her body, but in her soul, then listen closely. Because this isn't about ego, this isn't about performance, this is about presence. Here your hands ever touch her skin, your words and energy have already laid the foundation of everything that is about to happen between you. It begins with your presence, your attention, your intention. You see, for a woman to completely open up to you, she must feel something that many overlook: emotional safety. And this doesn't come from what you say and do outside of it. You drop in from outside. To call it an opening, what comes with it is this feeling of ownership, emotional safety, and this doesn't come from what you say and do outside of it. It's how you look at her when she walks into the room. It's whether you hear her when she speaks, not just listen, but truly hear. It's whether your actions align with your words, if your energy carries patience and curiosity, or if it's laced with expectation and performance. Most men underestimate just how deeply connected a woman's body is to her emotions. If she's mentally stressed, emotionally confused, or feels like she's not seen, her body will not respond to you the way you want it to. And if you try to push through that, what you create is not intimacy, it's disconnect masked as passion. True intimacy is created in the moments when she feels like she can let her guard down, like she doesn't have to overperform, overthink, or overgive to earn your attention. You want to fuck her so good she cries? You don't start at her thighs. You start with her mind. That means texting her something thoughtful when she's not expecting it. It means remembering the little things she tells you. It means looking her in the eyes and telling her she's beautiful, not just when she's dressed up, but when she's raw, bare, undone. It's showing her that your desire for her isn't conditional, that she doesn't have to do anything extraordinary to be wanted by you, that her softness is safe here. It also means that you don't weaponize her vulnerability. When she shares a fear or a past wound or something fragile, you don't make it a weakness. You don't try to fix it. You hold space. You let her be, without needing to control or correct. Because a woman who feels emotionally understood will give you a version of herself that no surface-level conversation, no expensive date, no amount of bravado can unlock. She will let you into places most men have never been, because she knows you're not there to take, you're there to feel with her. You're there to explore her, not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually. This is why foreplay is not something you do 5 minutes before sex. Foreplay is the tone of your relationship. It's the emotional tension you build across days. It's how you touch her hand, how you speak to her in public, how you show her affection without needing anything in return. When she feels safe with you, her body becomes a mirror of that safety. Her breath slows, her muscles soften, her eyes close, not from fear, but from surrender. She doesn't just react, she melts. And that is when you see a different version of her. That is when she starts to cry, not because she's broken, but because you've touched a part of her that rarely gets touched. A place that isn't aroused by technique, but by truth. She cries because the moment you created didn't just feel good, it felt healing. And for her, that's everything. Because in that moment, you didn't just make love to her body, you made love to her soul. Too many men move with urgency, with a goal in mind, with a finish line they're trying to reach as fast as possible, as if intimacy is a task to complete instead of an experience to be felt. They touch without attention, they kiss without intention, they move like they're chasing performance points, not connection. But the truth is, when you rush, you miss everything that matters. You miss the subtleties of her breath, the quiet signals of her body, the emotional depth behind her eyes that's inviting you to slow down and feel, not just act. When you move too fast, you don't just skip foreplay, you skip her. And that is the beginning of disconnection. Even if she never says a word, she may give you her body, but her soul is still standing in the corner, waiting for you to notice her. She may even be all the things that you know, but she may never be the same as ever said it. She may give you her body, but her soul is still standing in the corner, waiting for you to notice her. And that is the beginning of disconnection. Even if she moves away, you still feel lonely, waiting for something to happen. And that's why so far, you still feel. A woman wants to feel like every inch of her body is being explored, not conquered. She wants you to touch her like she's new every time, like you're still learning her language, still listening to what she doesn't say out loud. She wants to feel like she is not being rushed through a process, but being immersed in a moment. Because when you slow down, what you communicate to her is that she is not just a body to please you. She is a universe you're choosing to explore with care, with curiosity, with reverence. Presence is power, and the man who knows how to stay in the moment, who knows how to breathe, to watch, to feel without needing to control, becomes unforgettable. It's in the way your hands move across her skin with patience. It's the way your lips pause at her neck and don't rush to her chest. It's in the way your body isn't frantic or forceful, but attuned, gentle, deliberate. When she turns away, you know she's going to the bathroom. When you move with presence, every movement becomes an act of mindfulness. Every touch becomes a statement. Every kiss becomes a question you ask with your mouth. Do you feel me? Not just physically, but emotionally. Do you feel that I am here with you, not in my head, not in my ego, but right here in this moment, nowhere else? Because that's what she needs to trust you enough to open all the way. Slowing down isn't about dragging things out. It's about making space. Space for connection, space for emotion, space for her to respond without pressure. And when you give her that space, her body starts to communicate in ways she normally keeps quiet. She might begin to breathe differently. Her hands might reach for you instead of staying passive. Her hips might rise to meet you instead of just accepting your rhythm. That's because she can feel the difference between being touched and being worshipped. She knows when a man is focused on the outcome, and she knows when a man is focused on her. When you slow down, you give her permission to feel every part of it, not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually. You make her feel like there is nowhere else to be, nothing else to prove, just this moment, just this connection, just you and her, intertwined in something that isn't just sex, it's presence in its purest form. And she won't forget that. Because while most men are trying to prove themselves with speed or performance or dominance, you'll be the one who did something simple but rare. You stayed. You didn't rush through her. You didn't use her body like a shortcut to pleasure. You treated her like a moment that deserved to last. And that alone can make her body weep in ways she didn't know it could, because finally, someone slowed down enough to see her, feel her, and honor her without ever needing to say a word. You want to take her deeper. You want to unlock the version of her that doesn't just respond out of habit, but reacts from a place so raw, so vulnerable, that even she's surprised by how much she feels. Then you need to stop assuming you always know what she wants. You need to stop thinking that masculinity means controlling the entire moment, that dominance means taking without listening, that leadership means never stepping back. Real strength, the kind that makes her feel safe enough to surrender, isn't loud, isn't forceful, isn't mechanical. It's sensitive, aware, in tune with her energy as it shifts and flows. Because she's not a button to push or a puzzle to solve, she's a current to move with. And when you let her guide you, not just physically, but emotionally, you give her the space to let go of every filter, every mask, every layer of performance she's ever been taught to wear. Most men don't realize that a woman's greatest sexual power isn't just in her body, it's in her voice, in her expression, in her rhythm. And when you silence her by controlling everything, you strip away the very thing that could have brought you both into something extraordinary. Letting her lead doesn't mean losing control. It means co-creating a moment that's alive, not scripted. It means noticing when she wants to take over, when she wants to be still, when her breath quickens or slows, when her fingers dig into your back or soften around your neck, when her eyes close in surrender or open with urgency. It means paying attention to the language of her body and trusting that she knows how she wants to be loved in that moment, because sometimes she wants to be held gently, sometimes she wants to be taken fiercely, but you'll never know if you're not listening with every part of you, not just your ears, but your heart, your hands, your instincts. When you allow her to guide you, even in subtle ways, she feels seen. She feels valued. She feels like her pleasure isn't a bonus or a chore, it's the whole point. And when she feels that, she begins to open in ways that no technique can force. She arches differently. She speaks without hesitation. She reaches for more because she knows she won't be judged, rushed, or dismissed. And suddenly, it's not just sex anymore. It's a sacred conversation between two energies that are not battling, not dominating, but dancing. It's a back and forth exchange where she feels like an active creator of the experience, not just a participant. And this changes everything, because when she feels like she can lead without shame, she trusts you more. She trusts that you're not there to perform for your ego, but to experience her. That you're not threatened by her power, but turned on by it. That you're not looking to prove something, but to feel something. That's when she begins to pour herself into you. That's when she starts giving from a place that's deep, almost sacred, because she knows she's not being used, she's being honored. And this is where her tears begin. Not from sadness, not from confusion, but from release. The kind of emotional unraveling that only happens when she feels completely free. And freedom doesn't happen in control, it happens in trust. Trust that you won't shame her for leading. Trust that you won't take her vulnerability and weaponize it. Trust that when she gives you everything, you'll treat it like it's precious, not casual. Letting her lead doesn't make you less of a man, it makes you more of one, because it shows her that your strength isn't about control, it's about presence, patience, and the courage to feel with her, not just touch her. There is something powerful about a man who isn't afraid to bring emotion into the room, who doesn't just go through the motions, but actually shows up with his heart open and his ego tucked away. Because so many women have experienced intimacy that felt empty, bodies that were present but minds that were elsewhere, touches that were skilled but disconnected. And what she craves more than anything is to be seen, not just undressed, not just kissed, not just entered, but truly seen as a whole being with layers, emotions, scars, needs that go far beyond what she shows on the surface. And when you look into her eyes with softness and intention, when you pause and let her feel your breath, your pulse, your weight, not just your body weight, but the emotional weight of your presence, it creates a shift that she can feel in her core. She doesn't want to be handled like a checklist. She wants to be worshipped like a story you're slowly unfolding. And when you bring emotion into the space, when you speak to her with words that come from the truth of what you're feeling, not from some script or game or performance, She responds in ways that no technique could ever force because her body reacts not to pressure but to authenticity. She can feel when your kiss is laced with reverence instead of lust. She can sense when your touch is saying, "You're mine," with tenderness, not with entitlement. And this changes everything because it's no longer about how good you are in bed, it's about how deeply you're willing to connect. Say her name, not just as a sound, but as a recognition. Say it like you know what it means to hold space for her vulnerability, like you understand that she has been through things she doesn't always talk about. And in this moment, you are not just touching her body, you're telling her through every word, every sigh, every movement that she is safe here, she is adored here, she is not expected to perform or impress or be anything but herself, raw, soft, powerful, undone. And when she feels that emotional security, her entire body becomes more sensitive, more open, more responsive, because you've disarmed her walls without force. You've entered her heart before her body whisper to her the things you feel, even if they're simple, even if it's just, "You're beautiful. I love how you breathe. I feel you." Because those words mean more than you think. They tell her that you're not rushing past her into sensation. You're lingering inside the connection. And when you bring your eyes to hers, when you hold her face and breathe her in like she's sacred, you're creating something unforgettable, something that lives in her long after the moment ends. Because tears don't come from intensity alone. They come from presence, from depth, from that ache of being seen and held so completely that her body can't contain the emotion anymore. A woman cries when she feels safe enough to release the pain she's been carrying, the fear she's been hiding, the longing she's buried under years of being touched without being felt. And when you show her that she doesn't have to hold it all in, that this space is sacred, that her softness is not only welcome, but worshipped, the tears will come. Not from sadness, but from relief, from freedom, from joy, because you created a space where she could just be, where nothing was expected, but everything was received. And in that moment, she is not just yours in body, she is yours in soul, not because you claimed her, but because you met her where no one else ever has. What most men don't realize is that the moments after are just as important, if not more, than everything that came before, because aftercare isn't optional, it's essential. It's the space where everything she gave you, emotionally and physically, gets held, honored, and acknowledged. And if you skip this, if you roll over, get dressed, check your phone, or leave her in silence, you're not just missing a moment, you're undoing everything you just built. Because no matter how good it felt, if she's left feeling empty or discarded, her body remembers that more than anything else. And the next time she's with you, her guard will be higher, her trust will be thinner, and her surrender will be cautious, if it comes at all. You see, when a woman gives herself to you, especially deeply, especially emotionally, it's not just an act of pleasure. It's an offering, a kind of opening that leaves her exposed, tender, even fragile. And what she needs in that moment is not more stimulation, not more dominance, but your gentleness, your stillness, your care. She needs to feel that she wasn't just a body you passed through, she was a person you truly connected with. And that means staying, holding her, letting her melt into your arms, not rushing her back to normal, but letting the quiet be sacred, because in that quiet is where she processes what just happened. It's where the real emotional intimacy begins to land. If she cries after, don't panic, don't pull away, don't awkwardly ask, "Are you okay?" Like you're uncomfortable with her emotion, just hold her, breathe with her, maybe say nothing at all, just be there, fully. Because those tears aren't a sign that something went wrong, they're a sign that something went right. That you touched her in a way that bypassed her mind and went straight into the places she's kept locked away, and now it's all coming out. The years of being untouched, the years of craving gentleness, the memories that live in her body, the healing she didn't even know she needed. And when she lets that out in your arms, that's not weakness, that's trust at its most powerful. touch her hair, kiss her forehead, whisper something real like, "I'm here," or "You're safe." Because these are the gestures that make her feel held, not just in body, but in spirit. These are the things she'll remember when she thinks of you later, not just how you made her feel during, but how you made her feel after. And that part matters more than most men will ever understand, because sex without care is just friction. But sex followed by emotional presence is where the bond is sealed, where her nervous system relaxes, where the experience moves from being just physical to something she stores in her heart. Even if you're not in love, even if it's casual, even if there are no promises exchanged, the moment after still deserves tenderness, because being emotionally responsible for someone you've shared vulnerability with is not about commitment, it's about decency. It's about maturity. It's about being the kind of man who doesn't take the gift of intimacy lightly, who knows that bodies remember, that emotions linger, that connection means something, even if there are no labels. And when you treat her like someone worth holding on to, even in silence, even in stillness, she feels cherished, not used, chosen, not consumed. And this is where her real attachment forms. Not in how skilled you were, not in how long you lasted, not in how loud she was, but in how safe she felt to fall apart and be held together again. Because when you stay after, when you show up with warmth and care and softness, she doesn't just remember you as a good lover, she remembers you as a rare man, the kind who made her feel like her vulnerability wasn't too much, like her tears weren't inconvenient, like her emotional openness was beautiful and safe and deeply, deeply honored. You don't need to be the best in bed. You need to be the most present, the most emotionally available, the most curious. Because real intimacy, the kind that makes her cry from joy, healing, and pleasure, it's not about positions. It's about permission. Permission to be raw, wild, honest, emotional. Be the man who gives her that. And I promise you, she'll never forget you.